All right, welcome everybody. We are here at NAMM 2017, Anaheim, California. Welcome to It's Going to Get Loud. We have Dan Lipson here with Emerging Artists Network. Dan, thanks for being on the show today.
Paul, thanks for having me.
Good to see you run into another fellow Atlantan out here for the show. Dan has been working on emergingartist.net for a while. We're going to be talking about how this is impacting guys that are up and coming. So, Dan, tell us a little bit about, first and foremost, what you guys are doing.
So, a couple of years ago, Peter Stroud, who you know, and this is funny because it's the first NAMM show. I don't think Peter's been here. I mean, the first one he's missed in, I can't tell you how many decades.
I was going to ask where he was.
Yeah, unfortunately, Cheryl made him do some other work.
Sheryl Crow, the slave driving rock star there. Okay.
Well, his other employer. So you got to do what you got to do. But so we got together a couple of years ago, and really kind of looked at the whole landscape of emerging artists in particular, and really how do they get traction? How do they make money? So there's a whole plethora of issues that they face, and so what we try to do is come up with a solution that can help them further their career. And we've done it in a few ways. So the first thing we started...
No, wait a minute. It sounds like you're taking Showslinger there.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
No.
You guys are totally different direction.
You're starting them from the baby steps, and we take them when they're a little further along. Yeah. So it's actually a great two-step process that we have between the two companies. And so what we look for are artists that are out there that are touring. They're playing clubs, anywhere 500, 250 on up. Cap, selling tickets.
They've got a record out.
They're really making this their living. So they're and there's a number of artists out there, obviously, in a number of genres that are trying to make it, and that are doing it without labels, or they're doing it with an indie label, and they're actually making livings. And so what we did was we said, okay, there's all these great artists out there, but how do we find them? So we came up with the idea of building this technology platform that actually goes out and identifies artists that have a fairly large social media following, which is what we start with, and obviously if they're putting out music. So with that, we identify the artist, and we're able to pull in all their social media stats, their touring stats, and their streaming listening stats. And then with that, it gives them a great snapshot of where they are in time. And then what we did with all that information was that we wrote an algorithm that actually scores every artist. And so we score from 0 to 100. And obviously, a Beyonce or Taylor Swift is in the 90s. No one's 100.
If they're in the 90s,
but they're in the 90s. And then a garage band would be in a 10 to 15, let's say. But there's a number of artists that are in the 30 to 50, 60 range in their score that are really the ones that are in our sweet spot, and those are the ones that we're focusing on. And
now, for the artists that are how do the artists get involved first and foremost? Do they have to meet certain criteria, or can anybody get involved?
Well, what we set as basic criteria that you've got to be on Spotify, you've got to have your music on YouTube, and that you've got to have 2,000 followers with your social media. So,
but now, is that across all platforms?
Well, we'd like to start with Facebook, actually.
Okay.
But we follow Twitter, Instagram as well, and but we start kind of as a base with Facebook.
Okay, and so when they sign up, and again, it's emergingartist.net, correct?
Right.
And so when they sign up, do they have basically a checklist of what they need to do, or do they have a roadmap of some kind?
Yeah, they do. So what we give them a questionnaire that they fill out that basically gives us the information that we're trying to go out and find opportunities for them, particularly with brands. I mean, that's how we initially started with this, and then our other partner is a guy named Brian Grossman, who ran marketing for the New York Knicks for 5 years, and then was head of marketing for XM Radio prior to that. So what we want to do is match emerging artists with brands and give them an opportunity to, to make some money and get their music out through a major company.
Yeah, and that's the big thing for the emerging artists out there, because one thing that we hear with Showslinger and all the bands that we talk to is, we're going on tour. How do we get a sponsor? How do we get brands involved with what we're doing? I mean, any way to make more money.
Right.
So what could a band really expect? Say they were a 40 or 50 on this scale. They've got some traction.
Yeah.
They've done a couple of tours. They've got a record. What could they expect to get from the service if, say, someone comes to them? Hey, now who would this be? A Coca-Cola, or Budweiser?
Yeah, Coke and Bud, they have their own music departments, and so they.
I know Bud does. I know Jaeger.
And so does Coke, actually. So we don't. I mean, the brands that we're targeting are more, a fast food, a quick service restaurant chain. We have actually been working with Fox Sports and identifying artists for them. We have something going on right now with the Orlando Magic, where we had regional artists in the Orlando area that were signed on as kind of the team mascots. They did a music video with the team at the Amway Center.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
They're using their music throughout the season, and they're doing a performance at one of the games. So that was an engagement that we did, and now we're rolling that out with other teams through Fox Sports.
And so now, from a practical standpoint, an artist signs up. When they first sign up, let's talk about vetting the artist. Right. Are there human beings that go in there and look at these people as well? We know that you're getting scores from all over the internet.
Yeah.
Is there a human component to vetting that talent as well?
You know what? There's really not for us, because there's so many artists. So we're really all about the data first. And so so for an artist, the really important thing that they get is when they sign up, they fill out the questionnaire, and they connect their YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter accounts, and then they can see where their fans are. So they have access to all this information and their artist page and their dashboard anytime they want for free. We do not charge artists for this information. Mm-hmm. And it actually is a huge benefit for them, and it really gives them a roadmap to success, because they can see that, we're not, they see where every other, if they're 27, let's say, they see where every other 27 is in terms of where they rank from a social media standpoint, from a touring standpoint, and from a listener standpoint. And with that, they realize that, we're doing really well in social media, but we probably need to book a few more shows. And that'll raise their score, which ultimately, when you're raising your score in our system, that means you're furthering your career. You're selling more tickets, you're having more streams, and building your fan base.
Sure. And so one of the questions that I have is, as you're building your score, can the people that are looking at these artists, the companies that are looking at these artists, can they break it down by genre, demographic of the artist, all these kinds of things? Yeah. Because it's great to be in a band, but we need to know what other rock bands like us are doing in this part of the country.
Right. So so it does exactly that. So if you're a brand, or we're here at NAMM, and we've got some great folks, some great companies using our platform here at NAMM, and so for them, they're able to search by genre, by region, by score, and by label. Are they signed? Are they signed to a major? Are they signed to an indie? Or they have no label affiliation whatsoever? So, and you can search all those criteria or just one of those criteria. So it's an incredible database.
And so for the bands, here's a question that I have. Do the companies that you're working with, do they have preference for artists that are indie, signed to a major? What is their preference, or is there one? Because I could see a lot of brands saying, you know what, like a lot of people these days are doing, let's get unsigned artists to give us music for this TV show, whatever. It's cheaper.
Right.
Do you see that a lot in what you guys are doing, or not so much?
Yeah, no, we do. We see that they want experienced artists, but they, there's a whole different set of criteria. There's a lot more lawyers in the room, obviously, when you have a label involved or a major publishing company. So the companies that we've been working with definitely are steering clear of those aspects, and trying to focus more on emerging artists that does not have those relationships at this point. And so...
Okay, yeah, that's actually kind of what I was thinking too. Right. So you heard it here first. Anyone who's unsigned, get your ass on there right now, emergingartist.net. One of the other questions I had for you too is, what are the different types of opportunities that would be coming towards the artists through this? Is it just live performance? Is there any kind of licensing or anything like that for these companies?
Well, we've got, right now for the artists, we're definitely searching for brand relationships. That's what we're doing. We have a sales force out there that is doing that. And so we're trying to bring those opportunities that can benefit a lot of artists. Now that it can't benefit necessarily thousands of artists, but it can,
sure.
But there's hundreds of artists that ultimately we'd love to benefit on an annual basis. And
it's they're as you get up the pyramid, there are fewer and fewer artists at that level of the game to service anyway.
Right.
Right. With Showslinger, every single artist in the country can get a gig at a bar, club, restaurant, which is what we do. And as you start climbing that ladder, it's fewer people that are on tour and ultimately making, 100% of their daily living off of touring and gigs and all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's obviously a big commitment and expensive. And then the other thing for here at NAMM, for instance, we have music instrument companies like Taylor that has artists that are reaching out to them every week to become an endorsee of their product. And so they look at through the system and they really see the artist where they stand right now and the trajectory they've been on and maybe where they go. So they can then, if they don't sign them right now, they'll put them on a list to track them. So as their career grows, they'll reach out to them and say, you know what, we'd love to have you guys on board now.
Okay. Yeah. So artists should get on now just to make sure that they're getting tracked over time.
Exactly.
And so do the artists, when they're looking at their account, do they get reports that are showing these changes over time? Is it actively emailing them or notifying them, hey, you should take a look at this or you should take a look at that? Or is it more up to them to really just make sure that they're zeroing in on the right things every month?
Yeah, I think, if they log on, weekly or bi-monthly, they'll see. Their score can go up or down, probably a minuscule amount every day. But
sure.
But if they're on every week, every other week, they'll get a snapshot of everything that they're doing.
And so one of the other questions I have for you is that, okay, we're pulling all this data from social media sites.
Right.
What other places is this pulling from, or is that secret sauce?
We've got, some of it is a secret sauce, but there's some streaming companies that we're pulling their data, and then touring is another thing that we pull so we can see exactly where every artist is out there playing, and we have a map that maps it all out.
Yeah, and so the bottom line as an artist, and we've been preaching this on the show all the time, is make sure that no matter what you're doing, all your bases are covered. Make sure that you're always promoting everything that you can on social media, but not just one side, all of them. Make sure all of your bases are covered at all times, which is hard to do.
Right.
You really have to put a lot of time into that, but guess what? People are watching.
Well, they are definitely watching, and what we've seen is, that artists that do put the time in, particularly in social media, where they are posting on a regular basis, they are reaching out to their fans who are then and asking them to repost, etc., that they're getting more traction. And the ones that are just kind of hanging out and just waiting for it to happen or posting occasionally, are really missing out on what the business is all about these days.
Yeah, and that's always a recurring theme on our show. We always have people on, and we're just trying to push people and say, hey, look, it'd be great if we could all just sit in the corner and write songs and, sit in the recording studio all of our lives. Who wouldn't want that?
Right.
But there's two types of artists. There's the guys that go out there and they make it happen.
Yep.
They're all over everything all the time. We're trying to make that a higher percentage than what it is now because it's somewhat low in the emerging artist scene. And then you got everybody else, And so if you really want to get out there, make sure that you get on every single platform that you can.
Definitely.
That kind of exposure is free. It didn't used to be.
Right.
But now the tools are there. Why would you not do it, especially with something like Showslinger, what you guys are doing?
Right.
That's totally free. So tell me a little bit about what the future holds for what you guys are doing.
Well, for us, we've got a number of things going on. In the brand side, we've got these relationships that we're pursuing, on a daily basis, and then we've got this platform that we really are reaching out to the music industry, not just the music instrument industry, but also we go to Polestar after here, and they go to the Polestar conference and have a booth there, and we'll be talking to venues. We've got some venues on board now, including Georgia Theater, that are using our platform, and it's a great resource if you're a label, if you're a venue, if you're a festival, if you're a booking agent, if you're a manager. I mean, if you're a brand, if you're an agency. I mean, anybody that wants to be in the music business finds our tool very useful.
And so, is this something? And I know you mentioned the Georgia Theater. That's one of our local Athens, Georgia venues. If you look at Showslinger, you'll see our main commercial filmed at the Georgia Theater because it's just a beautiful, amazing place. They get great talent. Is this something that can be used by, the more modest venues out there, the small bars, clubs, and restaurants that are booking, weekly cover gigs or original gigs?
Yeah, they can. Anybody that is looking for an artist to pull in a crowd, our system is valuable because you'll be able to see, number one, how active they are on social media, where, how many fans they have, etc. And then the other great thing that we have too is a hashtag report where, if you're a venue, you'll look up and you'll see how did they promote that show at this other venue 3 months ago. And then they can look at a Polestar report and see what their ticket sales were.
Interesting.
And they said, oh, you know what? They didn't promote it that well. We'll probably choose these guys because they've promoted the hell out of their shows. So it's a really great tool for a venue to use, if you're trying to bring people into your establishment.
And so with the venue component of it, because we had talked, I want to say a year or two ago when we first met, and still kind of in its infancy a little bit maybe. But tell me how that works for the venues. Is this something that they pay for on a monthly basis and they get access?
Yeah, so it's a subscription basis. So anybody in the music industry, not artists, but the music industry, we sell subscriptions.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. And so they can just go to also emergingartist.net.
Yep.
And they can go ahead and sign up as a venue for a subscription. Is that correct?
They can. We are actually redoing our site, which will be up in 2 weeks.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm glad we got the jump on it then. Yeah. That way everyone can get lined up to get in there.
Yeah, you can go on and you can, and then you can email me, Dan at emergingartistnetwork.com. Glad to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so because I'm always interested in what the venues are doing. Obviously, it's a large component of Showslingers providing these guys tools.
Right.
And in this case, that's obviously a very valuable tool because anytime you walk into a venue, the first thing they're going to ask you as an artist is, how many people can you bring? Right? I mean, that's the $100 million question in the music industry. Are they basically going to be signing up, creating a profile, and then they're browsing for artists? Do you guys give them suggestions? How does that work from a venue standpoint?
Well, so they sign up and they basically have the database of artists, but they can also you can add an artist within a minute into our system. And so they can do that. They can search any artist. If they're not in there, they can put them in there. If they want, they can send us a list of artists, and we can put them in there for them. So we're pretty flexible about that.
And then the artist would get an email saying, "Hey, you've been added. Go ahead and fill out your profile."
Exactly.
And start. Okay.
Yeah.
So, do the artists now, when they're in there, is it like other sites where basically they have to link their accounts, or is everything automatically tracked?
Well, no, everything's automatically tracked other than linking their Facebook, YouTube, and
But they
Twitter
do have
account.
to manually link the Facebook
they do.
page.
But it's a widget. They just click a button and it's done.
Sure.
So, yeah, and obviously we can't get into their sites or anything. It's just a link.
You guys aren't Russian hackers getting in the back door there, finding out all their stats so you could use it to help them?
No, we would go. If we were hackers, we'd go to a much higher level than the music industry.
Hey, I take offense to that. I'm just kidding. No, that's interesting, and I love what you guys are doing with the platform. Are there any large brands that you guys are working on that you can share with us? I'm always interested to see what's coming down the pipe for startups and guys like you and I.
Well, we've been talking to well, you know what? There's a major car company that we've been talking to that we're getting close with. So
If they need to send any product demos, you can send them over to me. I'm happy to take a free car. No, I like that. It's especially with what you guys are doing, and I definitely actually want to talk to you a little bit more because we haven't had a chance to catch up and talk a little bit more about what the future holds. So we've got Tom Lang. All right. The man from TC-Helicon coming in. Dan Lipson, thank you so much. Absolute pleasure to have you here.
It's great to see you again.
It
was at Starbucks about a year ago in
Atlanta. Yeah, by my loft there. Yeah. Small town out there and down here. Always nice to see a fellow Georgia boy.
Go Falcons.
Go Falcons. There you go. All right, sir.
Now I'm going to turn it over to the man who took my job away as a singer.
There you go.
Thanks, Dan. And I'm sorry I took your job. I hope your kids are going to be able to eat.
Believe me, they were never eating out of my music acumen. So.
Yeah, really. There you go. Cheers. Great to meet you.
All right. We've got Mr. Tom.
Tom Lang.
Tom Lang.
There you go.
I always, in the South, we always say Mr. and then the first name. It's Mr. Paul. It's Mr. Tom. So
okay.
I'm bringing my Southern boy kind of thing.
Actually, I graduated from school in Dallas, in Big D.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, Texas, you have to say they're kind of more Southern than like Georgia Southern because y'all have more guns than we do. So I don't think we can get away with that.
To be fully truthful, full disclosure, I'm actually a Canadian who went to school in Texas. So, just to really muddy the waters,
well, as Rodney Dangerfield said, Canada, they started a country and nobody showed up.
Oh, my gosh. I love it.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
I don't have my tie here, but no, really appreciate you coming by. And so, TC-Helicon, what do you guys have going on?
Well, I should probably tell you first about what we do. I'm not sure if all your users understand what we do. We make products for singers that make you sound better from the stage.
Hopefully our guys are using those products, because if they're not, then we got to have a separate discussion about that.
Right. Well, yeah, that's right. But we can help people anybody who sings, right, and who uses a microphone. And they're like having guitar pedals, only you plug a mic into them, and they do something wonderful for your voice.
Sure.
Such as... we got this thing called adaptive tone, which just basically compresses your voice and brightens it a little bit, makes it sound more like you're singing in the studio, and you get all the toys behind you that make you sound great. And we have harmony. Have you ever heard our products, Paul?
Indeed, I have. I've used plenty of them.
Oh, you have?
Yep.
Well, why don't you do the interview then?
Nobody wants to see me, man. I'm not the pretty one here.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I have, and so. Tell us exactly which products are going to be the best for the guys that are, the starting out, the emerging artists, the guys that are just getting into, the clubs. Not, the bigwig pros, they got all the money in the world to, pay the millions of dollars. But what's going to help the guy that's, is just getting out there doing his first original shows?
Exactly. Okay, perfect. Good question. First thing is, I'd say mic mechanic. We have a product called Mic Mechanic, and basically you plug your mic into it, then you plug into the PA. It's just kind of like I said. And what it does is it gives you that adaptive tone. Mm-hmm. It gives you a little bit of pitch correction, if you like. Mm-hmm. I don't like the word pitch correction because that sounds kind of like you've been bad.
Or like you're cheating. Musicians are very finicky with that word.
Right. So I'd say
not me. I turn it from 0 to awesomeness, and somehow when I sing, it's just... Oof.
It's just, man, everybody leaves the building. They must,
exactly.
They have to tell their friends.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so Mic Mechanic actually is probably a really good place to start for somebody who's just, they're in a band, and their vocals, they sound okay, but they want to actually make the actual basic sound of their voice sound more produced. And on that product as well is reverb and echo. And you can turn it up or turn it down, obviously,
Sure.
But the thing is, you control it from the stage rather than just showing up the gig. And they put a mic in front of you, and there's a guy out in the dark, or a woman out in the dark.
The old set it and forget it sound guy.
Right, yeah, and then they're talking to their friends, and you're going, can I have a little reverb in this song, by the way? Right, so this gives you the control, the power of kind of saying, actually, I'm defining my vocal sound. So Mic Mechanic is a good place to start. If you play...
Now, keep that on the download from the sound guy. You don't want to piss them off.
Well, you can turn that around and say, he can go ahead and talk to all his friends because I got it covered.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
There you go.
I don't want to put down sound people. I mean, they
I
have
love
a hard
them
shot
because
too.
they make the show. Without them,
No kidding.
you're done.
They're the conduit, and they sit out there and they get blasted at 120 dB for like 3 hours a night. So good on you people. But
Absolutely.
so anyway, that's one way to go. The other one I was going to mention is another one. If you're the only singer in the band, and you want to make the harmonies sound a little fuller, like on the chorus, but you can't ask the bass player. He didn't sing. The other guitar player didn't sing.
We know the drummer doesn't sing.
Oh no, he doesn't sing. You don't want to put a mic even near him. So we've got another product called Harmony Singer, which is in the same sort of pedal format. And you put that on the floor. You plug your guitar through it, in and through into your amplifier. Doesn't color your sound or anything like that. But what it does is, it provides harmonies. So that, say you're coming up to the chorus and you're playing na 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 na, click the pedal on, and it'll add one or two voices above or below your voice, and you can choose, and a little bit of reverb, and it has the adaptive tone as well.
Two in one there.
Oh yeah.
And does it basically detect the key, or do you have to set that before?
It does.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't detect the key. It detects the ongoing set of chords, so that you're playing your guitar, you're playing a G, 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 and all the harmonies you sing are right for that.
Right.
Then you go D and C, and then you go to some really oddball chord like G sharp, and the harmonies just always follow naturally. And it's actually really, it's so easy to use. I mean, you watch people's faces when you say, "Here, just play your guitar and sing," and I'm going to turn this pedal on, and their face just goes like, where did you just come from? Are you from Mars or something? So it's wonderful.
The good Mars. And so for that particular product, for the emerging guys, what does that retail for?
Harmony Singer is $199.
Okay.
And Mike Mechanic, I believe, is $149. But here's the real kicker. Today, we started our Let's Talk About Stomps, Baby campaign. See how I did that?
Yeah, I got you.
And basically what you do is you can win one of these products. And we have 3 of them, as a matter of fact. We have the other one I didn't mention. It's called Duplicator, and it's for people who want to have like a doubling effect.
Sure.
And it does pitch correction and adaptive tone and reverb and doubling. So those 3 products, we'll be giving 3 of those away a day for the next month.
Woo.
So all you have to do is go on either Facebook or Twitter or Instagram and post with the hashtag, hashtag TC-Helicon, TC-Helicon, and say something like, just say something. Has anybody used this? Is it really cool? Or if you are a user like yourself,
sure.
And you could do this just right after this interview.
I'm going to.
You could enter to win. So if you post something, say, you know what? I do use this. I used this one, or I tried it in this store, and it really was really cool. I dug it.
And so basically, that's your entry to the contest.
Bada bing.
No purchase necessary.
No purchase necessary. And we're giving away a ton of them. Like at the end of the month, I think it's like 75 units given away. So there's going to be lots of happy people out there.
Absolutely. Are those the 3 big products that you guys are...
Well, they're the 3 new products for the show.
Awesome.
There's one more. There's another one called Perform VK for keyboard players. It does the same sort of thing as the Harmony Singer does, with harmonies and things like that. But it mounts on a mic stand. It clicks. It's got this very innovative little click thing that you mount on a mic stand, so that as a keyboard player, you just snick it onto your stand, and then you can reach over, and it's got nice big buttons. You can turn the harmony on, off, or reverb.
That's nice.
And you got a few presets. Very, very simple. But those are essentially the 4 new products for the show. But the
That'd
3
be awesome if you had something like that for guitar players too, because I mean, you got a lot of guys doing cover gigs, solo cover gigs, that kind of thing. You snap that on there, man. That'd be pretty cool too.
Yeah. Well, we have a bigger one for that called Touch 2, maybe a little bit more advanced for some people, but I can't give you any actual, confirmation or denial of new products in the pipeline.
Sure.
But that's a great idea. Thank you so much for that.
You heard it here. I came up with this idea.
Yeah, really.
I want my royalties. So.
Yeah. Well, you may already have won a Mike Mechanic or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome because I need some pitch correction. Wait, no, I don't.
Well, even the best of us. Actually, I think even Barbara Streisand on her latest album, I think they might have snuck a little on there.
Oh man,
because our ears are so acclimatized to that nowadays, you know.
Well, not only that, I mean, every producer in the world, mine included. And I was kind of in the generation that just started recording with analog, but then it just switched to digital.
Yep.
And then when it switched to digital, my producer, just like everybody else, said to me, "I don't remember putting any pitch correction on your vocal. Let's go back and listen to that." No, you're naturally singing that way now from listening to all this on the radio.
Yeah.
That's sounding like that, and I'm like, damn, I didn't mean to do that, but now I guess I am. But
well, yeah, you just internalized it, right?
After hearing a million records and all of this kind of thing coming at you. But I always, and you always hear musicians who are purists and artists saying, I would never. But that's, I think, a little bit short-sighted simply because anything that you use is color. A distortion, a flange, an echo, a delay, whatever it is.
How about overdubbing?
Overdubbing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, who hasn't done that? I mean, if you look at the 70s bands, it was only overdubbing.
Yeah.
Right? And the point is that everything is a color, and don't tell me, like after a million days on tour, it's cold outside, it's dry, your voice isn't working, you're up the night before, you're probably smoking cigarettes and drinking or something. Don't tell me that a little bit of pitch correction would kill the show, It might even bring a few people back over time. I don't,
Well, I also want to say it's not a magic bullet.
Yeah, of course not.
If you're so far south of the note, it's going to pull you even farther south. So it's like
that's the thing for your artists out there. Still do your vocal exercises.
Yeah, really. Make sure you just go your Mame Mimo Moose and drink lots of water, and don't do the partying late at night because although it's fun, it's going to kill you, man.
That's a vocal killer. I found that out the hard way a few times.
Oh gosh, yeah, man. And it's great because for me at this show, normally I'm the demonstrator guy. And I come down from Canada where the air is nice and moist. My throat is perfect. And then I come down here. I'm thinking, I'm doing the setup the day before. This is going to work out great. I wake up the next morning and I'm like, okay. I'll sing that falsetto note for you.
Yeah, but at least you're not, freezing your buns off up there in infinite snow this time of year.
Well, not snow, but it was a bit frosty when I left. I had to get the old scraper out and scrape my windshield.
Oh my goodness,
so bad.
I don't even want to hear about it. I just came from the Dominican Republic in the Caribbean, where I've been living for the last 9 months. Just get back to Atlanta the day they had the blizzard, the dusting of snow, and
stopped the city,
stopped the entire city, and every singer woke up saying, "I can't sing today. It's too cold and my throat. What are we going to do?"
Oh.
So. And this is a question I always like to ask people that have products. What does the future hold for what you guys are doing? Is there anything you can tell us that's guiding what you guys are doing? What's the next target?
The thing that really guides us is to get the word out. We want to spread the word to more singers that, hey, you have control now of things that you didn't think you had control of before. So that's a start, is making sure that more singers know that, hey, I could sound better. Or I could put an echo on now, or I could put a megaphone now, and things like that. So there's part of that. Let's see. What can I give away? I mean, if you've seen our product line, we have these large pedals that called the Voice Live 3, which is a very cool product. It has giant looper in it, and it has 10 buttons on it, that and guitar effects, everything built in. Obviously we're gonna keep going with that kind of thing because there are people who just want. It's like they want a vocal pedal board that turns into a guitar pedal board that turns into a massive looper.
But I'm the exact same way. I use don't kill me, but I use the Boss RC300 for some looping on little solo things I do all the time, and they're starting adding a lot of successful products, adding a lot of stuff to it, a lot of more onboard effects and that kind of thing. Yep. Is that where you see? Pedals and pedal boards going?
The integration?
More of that, all of that stuff. Or is it just another product and some people just want to specialize on single stomp boxes that do this or that?
I think
or is it just all over the place?
The answer is, exactly. The answer is it depends. Like for me, I want it all. I want all the buttons, and I want to turn all the parameters exactly the way I want it. But there are some people that say, I just want to sing, but when I sing this one song, I want to go click and have something happen. And that's as far as I want to go. I don't want to go into menu diving and here I go. I'm going deep. They don't want to do that. So we want to cover everybody who does that kind of thing. I love the integration. And in fact, I was so excited when we developed Voice Live 3, which is like, oh man, now you don't have to have a giant pedal board 2 feet wide on one side of your mic stand, and on the other side you've got to have some vocal products, and it was just like
which I had for many, many years in the late 90s and early 2000s.
You carried it around, and you replaced some batteries, and you broke some cables,
I did.
and some of the knobs got twisted in the middle of your soul. Yeah, I mean...
All of that happened to the point where we started taping and gluing everything down so it wouldn't move.
Taping the knobs down.
Yeah, and even in the back, we would, just because we're plugging and unplugging stuff so much, we would just epoxy in cables and then attach them in. Because we were having problems with the inputs.
Yeah.
And, because some of them are roadworthy, some of them weren't.
Yeah. Well, you epoxy in the cable. That's great until you break the cable. Then it's like, no! Now what do we do? Okay, well, I got to unscrew this.
Yeah, it hasn't happened in 10 years, but you could be right.
I tell you, here's a tip.
I'm not the broke artist I used to be, though. That's the good news.
Yeah, well, obviously, you live in the Dominican Republic, you live in the sun for 6 months of the year.
That was just a vacation.
Okay, yeah. Nice long one. But I tell you what, here's a good tip. You know that blue tack stuff that you buy that, you put it on a table and it holds a lamp down or something like that? I took a little ball of that and put that on the knobs of my OCD or my, my little chorus pedal or whatever like that. And then you can move it, but it stays right where you like it.
That's a good idea.
I love that stuff.
Tip for emerging artists.
There we go.
And what is that called again?
I call it blue tack, and I think it's called blue tack. You buy it in like these little bars, like a bar of soap.
Probably
kind of
get them on eBay for $1 or something.
Or, I don't know your stores down here. You go to Target or something like that, and you just roll it up like the size of a pea, and then you sort of put it on the side of the knob. And the cool thing is it'll stay there while you're moving the pedal boards around. But when, you say you're playing and you stick your foot right beside it, you can actually still turn the knob. You kind of force it a little bit. Yeah, so you get because wherever you set your pedal in rehearsal is not enough for when you're playing live.
It never is, right?
Exactly. It's like, this would be perfect. I can't hear myself. Then you're in survival mode, and you're like, crank it, baby.
We've all been there a few too many times, myself included.
Well, yeah, that's cool. I gig a lot, so the ideas that I'm able to bring to TC-Helicon, are based out of. Well, there was this one time when I panicked in this club because I didn't have XYZ.
Yeah, but you have to. If not, if you're just a lab rat, you're not going to know what's going on. Now, you're one of the. Correct me if I'm wrong. I understand you're one of the primary engineers, or.
I'd love to be called an engineer. I am not. Sadly, I am a.
Can we get someone in here who's actually got some expertise?
Can we get the real guy in here?
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm a product manager.
Okay.
Which means that you
guide the ship.
Yeah, I define products and I sort of shepherd them through all the things. But I work with these talented, we've got some smart engineers who know the stuff. Right? They're the guys that type the words and wave the mouse around that make the magic sounds that I'd like them to make.
Yeah, indeed.
Right? And these guys are really, really bright. So I'm a product manager, and I'm also a demonstrator. They just won't let me stop demonstrating.
Hey, man, you got to love your products, man.
Oh, yeah. I adore the products. I'm the
Absolutely.
luckiest guy in the world. I get to go and play with gear all day.
Exactly, and that enthusiasm, man, people love that.
No kidding. I got to tell you about the new thing from Behringer. Because our company, TC-Helicon, was owned by TC Group, and that was a big corporation with a bunch of companies under it, and that was bought by a bigger company. You're thinking of the fish, right?
Yeah.
So Music, the corporation owned by Uli Behringer, who owns Behringer and Turbo Sound and now Tannoy and everything, they just put out this incredible synth called DeepMind 12. It's an analog synth.
I heard of that, and I've seen a little bit, but I haven't gotten into it. Tell me what I'm missing.
That thing's amazing. I mean, for $1,000, you can get into, this is for your, like you said, your guys who don't have a lot of money. They're just breaking into this stuff, right?
Sure.
If you wanted to buy an analog synth, like one of the old classic dinosaurs that have those sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go on eBay and let's look around. Okay, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. They're worth a lot of money because they're not making any more of those ones. Although DeepMind comes up with this massive sound, programmability, onboard effects, onboard arpeggiator, compact size, editor, and get this, it has. Do you know what do you call it? Enhanced reality is where you put on these goggles and you can actually edit the sound in 3D space.
Augmented reality.
Augmented reality.
And yes, I do, because I cannot confirm or deny this, but my company may be working on some features as well with augmented reality.
There you go.
For an immersive fan experience at a show we'll get into that next year, actually, but yeah.
Very cool. So you bought the glasses, right?
Well, again,
Yeah.
We're gonna.
Okay. Well, that's on the down low.
You tell me.
That's on the down low. Okay. Well, that's the part. At least that augmented reality thing is the part that your young average starting band isn't going to be able to afford, because those headsets are $5,000 each.
Sure.
So it's a little bit expensive, but does it attract people to the booth? Oh my gosh, there's this like 70-inch monitor behind this guy with these glasses on, waving his hands around in the air, and there's this box, this 3D box, and you can pull it forward and backwards and up and down in the field of view while you're looking at people. In your field of view, while you're looking at people, there's this box overlaid, and you hear the synth going, and it's making all these really cool sounds that the guy is actually manipulating by moving things. There's this other thing where one of the modes is they have these laser beams shooting up in front of your face, and you stick your hand in there and interrupt the laser beams.
Oh my goodness!
And the synthesizer does something wonderful. So for $1,000, you can get this massive sounding synthesizer that there are a lot of people who are, experienced synthesists and famous people like BT, Billy Idol's keyboard player, Derek Sherinian. He came to our pre-NAMM sort of get-together at the Music LA studios, and he did this demo that just blew the doors off the place. So yeah, there's another thing that I can bring to the party for your listeners.
That is absolutely wild. Now let me ask you this: with the augmented reality that you guys have, and nerd alert if anybody doesn't want to hear the yeah, exactly. I'm a Georgia Tech guy, so I can get into the nerd stuff a little bit. But is that running off basically Windows 10, the 3D basically integrated augmented reality stuff like that?
I don't know if it's Windows 10. It might be Linux. I don't know. I mean,
they got that Paint program and the designing programs that they all have that are now on Windows 10. I'm wondering if it's running off of those kinds of engines. Essentially, is it an app built on that engine, or is it something completely proprietary?
I cannot confirm or deny because I absolutely don't know. It was designed in Manchester by the guys that do the Midas consoles.
Oh, no kidding.
And they used to work for Sony.
Interesting.
So we got 3 very bright guys whose focus it is to do this thing.
That's so cool. I'm going to have to check that out tomorrow.
Yeah. Do go to the booth for sure, because
absolutely.
You see the guy standing there, and it just looks so futuristic, man. He's got these this goggles on, and he's waving his hands around, and synth is doing cool things. And by the way, if there's any of your listeners who are going to the show, they've got a friend in a music store or something, got a ticket. We've got 12 of those DeepMind synths with headphones, and you can just go up and play with it.
Oh, I was totally hoping you were going to say we have 12 of those to give away.
To give away? What a day!
Sign me up right there.
Yeah, really. All you'd have to do is do the hashtag, I love Behringer synthesizers.
Quite a lot.
Really. Don't misspell it. There's an underscore.
That's awesome. I'll definitely have to come by and take a look at it. And we're gonna we'll grab some video to put up on Facebook Live of some of your demos. Grab a couple of images and throw them up as well, just so people know exactly what's going on. That sounds really awesome. Anything else you want to share before we wrap it up for the day? I can see everyone's leaving the convention. I'll probably go in to get the drinks at the bar down the street.
Oh, is that what you do?
Not me.
Not me,
everybody else.
No, I just watch everybody's because everybody gets jolly, right?
I'm a musician. I don't have any fun.
The only thing I just want to probably not just make sure that if you want one of these products that I mentioned, the little vocal stomp boxes, the 3 new ones, just post on one of the platforms, hashtag TC-Helicon, no dash, just TC-HELICON. Something nice about Helicon, and you do stand a chance of winning and getting great vocal sounds and then telling your friends, and it's just this big, wonderful loop.
Better chance than winning the Powerball, folks. You heard it right there. Mr. Tom Lang, thank you so much from TC-Helicon for coming in today.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
And thank you so much. We're going to wrap it up today for NAMM 2017. We're actually going to be back tomorrow for an hour from 4:30 to 5:30. So we're going to have some other guests, maybe some other awesome giveaways, but everyone stay tuned. Thank you so much, and we'll see you mañana.